Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to discuss the nursing fundamentals. To start, we're going to know what are the nursing or the focus of nursing. So we start health promotion. It involves the improvement of clients' well-being, where we do the health education, introduces immunization in other platforms that will help improve the client's health. And next is health maintenance. So in order to promote or give the proper health or preserve the health, we are going to emphasize health promotion and disease prevention. So doing the necessary things just like exercise, proper diet, and many more that will help us to attain the optimal health. Next is health instauration. It is where help clients with illness to recover. It is the application of nursing care by providing assistance and as well as giving the needs of our patients. Next, we have care of the dying. When the recovery is not possible, then we are having the care of the dying, where clients for the clients who are having terminal cancers or the clients who died and doesn't recover. So they are also part of the focus of the nursing because we provide them the dignity as well as proper way on how to handle and give respect upon their death. Next is role and task. When we say role, it is the pattern or behavior that expected for you to do, assuming from your status or position. For example, you're a nurse, so one of your role is to take care of the patient. Next is a task. It is the specific activities required of a person. So they are, for example of these are the doctor's order, such as giving medicine or administering medicine prescribed by the physician. If it is urgent, we should give it as soon as possible. And we do take vital signs based on the order of the doctors. So next is patient and client. When we say patient, they are the one who has the disease and very dependent to health professionals. So they are the one who are ill and need attention in order to provide their needs. Next is for client, not necessarily sick, health promotion, active disease prevention, and client collaboration with health professionals. So they are the one who will help us to do health maintenance, as well as they are not necessarily the one who got sick, but they wanted to promote their health, just like having health education to gain knowledge on how to have an optimal health. Next, we have level of clientele. We have individual, family, community, and population groups. Individual are the one, for example, the patient or the client. Next is the family. They are involved because they are the one who will take care of the patient if they got home or for recovery purposes. And community, they will be the one who will receive education. They are the one who will spread the proper knowledge, and they will be our helping hand to promote health. Next is population groups. So some of our clients have special groups with special needs attributed to the followings. For example, cultural characteristics for indigenous people. So of course, we need to be more sensitive to their culture and be able to know what to do and know alternatives for them to receive the treatment, not by trespassing their culture and beliefs. Next is developmental stage. So in developmental stage, for some infants and old people, so they need assistance, and they are having significant others to help them. So next is occupation. So commercial sex workers are more prone to STD. So they are some of occupations that are more sensitive, and we should always do respect them, for we are all different. Next is theories, relationships between concepts. We have individual or person, they are the recipient of care. The nursing, it is the attributes, characteristics, and actions of nursing, of nurses providing care. Next is health. When we say health, it is the degree of wellness or well-being that the client experience, or the complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So next is the environment. It is important because it involves internal and external surrounds that affects the client. So these four is important because they are the one who involved during the providing nursing care to the patient. So we could not function without the health, without the environment, without the nurse and individual. We cannot the nursing care cannot function without those four concepts, or nursing meta-paradigm, because they are the one who will be involved in those concepts. Next, we have nursing theories. Let's start with the general theories by starting from Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was born May 12, 1820 in Florence, Italy, and died August 13, 1910 in Mayfair, London, United Kingdom. She is known as the founder of modern nursing and the lady with the lamp during the service in Crimean War. And she is known for her theory, the environmental theory. So what is environmental theory? Environmental theory focuses on the manipulation of environment because it involves in the process of recovery of the patient. What nursing has to do is to put the individual in the best position for nature to work on him. So it is important to have the environment because it affects our recovery as well as our health. Next is nursing action, manipulation of elements in the environment to contribute reparative process. So during the nursing action, consideration of the environment, which should be safe, clean, and as well comfortable for the patient to have a better health and as well as to improve the health. Next is the conceptual and theoretical models of nursing practice. In Nightingale's theory in mid-1800s focuses on the patient and his environment. So the relationship between environment and patient is emphasized. Next is develop and describe the first theory of nursing, notes of nursing, what it is and what it is not. She focused on changing and manipulating the environment in order to put the patient in the best possible condition for the nature to act. She believed that in the nursing environment, the body could repair itself. As I said a while ago, she emphasizes that environment is important in the repairment of the body as well as our recovery. And client's environment is manipulated to include appropriate noise, nutrition, hygiene, and socialization and hope. So their involvement of different things that involves in environment that will help the patient to recover. And one thing that also Nightingale emphasizes is we should know what to observe and how to observe. Next is the 10 elements found in the environment. So what are the 10 elements that are important to know? First is air. Importance to have moving air in a room of patient to contribute proper ventilation. Of course, it is important to have appropriate air and pure air because noxious air can suffocate, can also damage our health. So next is light. Patients should be near the windows, able to see sunlight and give hope. So sunlight is important because it will help us gain vitamin D for calcium absorption. And also sunlight is good for our health. So it is important to consider. Next is health of houses. So environment situation. The house or the environment should be clean and cleanliness. So it should be also improved and clean it if necessary. Next is beddings. Change of linens or beddings in patient's room to promote comfort. Of course, it is important to change the beddings in order for the patient to be comfortable, as well as to promote the clean environment and without necessary that will cause another problem. Next is nutrition. It is important to have a proper nutrition to fast recover and will help nourish the body. Next is variety, the change in environment for patients. So it is important to change or it's either give patients some new things to look at to avoid boredom, because boredom may cause losing of hope that will lead to sickness. Next is ventilation. Promote warming, so it gives comfort to our patients. Next is noise, due to nurses' clothing or roaming around. So it is important when the patient is sleeping, we should be aware that we should not disturb them because they need proper rest. Next is chattering hopes, deals with the social aspect of nurse and should cautious with words when at bedside and talk about positive things. So it is important to we don't tell the patient right away about their situation because the doctor will be the one who will tell them. And our role is to just contribute the fact and support the patient. And it is important that this theory is to be known because the elements of environment really affects us. And Nightingale's theory is still applicable until now. She was the one who contribute the development as well as giving the nursing knowledge on how to function as a nurse in this modern day. And that's all. Thank you. And now let's proceed.
Hey everyone, my name is Russell Joy Johnson. So today we will talk about Virginia Avenel Henderson. So she was an influential nurse, a researcher, theorist, and author, and known for her work, the Need Theory. And she known as the First Lady of Nursing, the Nightingale of Modern Nursing, and the Modern Day Mother of Nursing, and the 20th century Florence Nightingale, and lastly the first Theory International nurse. So she was born on November 30, 1897 in Kansas City, Missouri, United States. Died March 19, 1996 in Connecticut, Spice Brantford, Connecticut, United States. So she graduated in 1921 from the United States Army School of Nursing and completed a Bachelor of Degree from the Columbia University in 1932 and master's degree in the same school at 1934. So she received 13 honorary degrees, was inducted into the American Nurses Association Hall of Fame, and was awarded the most prestigious honor in the nursing, the Christian Riemann Prize by the International Council of Nurses. So Virginia Henderson, assessing individuals sick or well in the performance of activity. Role of nurse is complementary or working with the person. Supplementary or helping the person. Individual person is whole or complete individual being. As defined by the International Council of Nurses, a written by Virginia Henderson, the unique function of the nurse is to assist the individual, sick or well, in the performance of those activities contributing to health, its recovery, or to a peaceful death. The client would perform unaided if he had the necessary strength, will, or knowledge. She further believed that nursing involves assisting the clients gain independence as rapidly as possible, or assessing him achieve peaceful death if recovery is no longer possible. So Virginia Henderson traveled the world throughout her career to help and encourage not only nurses but also healthcare workers. So Henderson's 14 basic components of nursing stresses the priority of a patient self-determination so that the patient will continue doing after being released in the hospital. So she characterized the nurse's role of substitutive, which the nurse does for the patient, supplementary, which is helping the patient, or complementary, which is engaging with the patient to do something. So 1. Breathe normally. 2. Eat, drink adequately. 3. Eliminate body waste. 4. Move and maintain. 5. Sleep and rest. 6. Select suitable clothes leads to a normal development. Maintain body temperature. Keep body clean and well groomed. Avoid dangers in environment. Communicate with others. Worship according to others one's faith. Work for the accomplishment desirable posture. Participate in recreation. Learn to satisfy the curiosity. And Henderson arranged nursing tasks in 14 different components based on the personal needs. Not only are the nurses responsible for a patient, but also to help the patient to be themselves when they are leave their care. So this assures that the patient has fewer obstacles during the recovery from being sick or injured, and helping getting back into self-care is easier when a nurse is there to motivate until the patient will go home. So let's proceed to Martha Elizabeth Roger. She was an American nurse, a researcher, theorist, and author. While she was a professor of nursing at New York University, Rogers developed the science of unitary human beings, a body of ideas that she described in her book An Introduction to the Theoretical Basis of Nursing. She was born May 12, 1914 in Dallas, Texas, United States, and died March 13, 1994 in Phoenix, Arizona, United States. So she believes that a patient can never be separated from their environment when addressing health and treatment. Her knowledge about the coexistence of a human, his or her environment, contributed a lot in changing towards better health. So, Martha Roger, Science of Unitary Human Beings. So, A, nursing is humanistic science, parallel with Ludwig von Bertalanffy's general system theory, and have the 5 assumptions about human beings. 1. Man is a unified whole, whole not equal to sum of parts. Individual and environment are continuously exchanging matter and energy. Life cycle evolves irreversibly and unidirectly along space and time continuum. Life patterns identify individuals. 5. Humans have the capacity for absorption and imaginary language through um, sensation and emotion. So, Science of Unitary Human Beings, the theory views nursing as both science and art. So, it provides a way to view the unitary human being and his or her environment are one. Nursing focuses on a people and manifestation that emerge from the mutual human environment field process. So, General System Theory or GST 1950 was outlined by Ludwig von Bertalanffy. It premised that complex systems shared organizing principle which can be discovered and modeled mathematically. The term came to relate to find a general theory to explain the system is all fields of science. He was remaining against both reductionism and attempting to revive the unitary of science. He is considered to be the founder and principal author of general system theory. So, a set of interaction parts, components with boundary that filters the input and output from and to the environment. Input and output, matter, energy, and information. Whole physical, psychological, spiritual, and intellectual. So, general system theory, therefore, is a general science of wholeness. The meaning of the somewhat mystical expression, the whole is more than the sum of its parts, is simply that constitutive characteristic are not explainable from the characteristic of the isolated parts. The characteristic of the complex therefore appear anew emergent. So that's all for my part, and for other theory it will be reported by Miss Igalinos.
Good afternoon, I'm Diana Rose Igalinos. For now, I'm going to discuss Dorothea Orem's self-care deficit theory. But first, let us know Dorothea Orem. So, Dorothea Elizabeth Orem was born on July 15, 1914 in Baltimore, Maryland, and died in June 22, 2017 in Savannah, Georgia, United States. So, her father was a construction worker and her mother is a homemaker. She was the youngest among 2 daughters. So she was one of the America's foremost nursing theorists who developed the self-care deficit nursing theory, also known as the Orem model of nursing. So her theory defined nursing as the act of assessing others in the provision and management of self-care to maintain or improve human functioning at the home level of effectiveness. So it focuses on each individual's ability to perform self-care, defined as the practice of activities that individuals initiate and perform on their own behalf in maintaining life, health, and well-being. So for Dorothea Orem's self-care deficit theory, so man is integrated whole, biologically, symbolically, and socially. Man is reliant and responsible for self-care. Man is requisite for all, and nursing is a service, art, and technology. So the self-care deficit theory is composed of 3 sub-theories. First is we have the self-care, which is the universal self-care developmental. Then the second one is the self-care deficit, which is the demands, capabilities, and deficits. The number 3 is the theory of nursing system, which is the wholly compensatory, partly supportive, and educative. So in universal self-care requisites, there are associated with life processes and the maintenance of the human structure and the functioning integrity. So number 1, we have the maintenance in sufficient intake of air. The number 2, sufficient intake of water. Number 3, sufficient intake of food. The number 4 is the satisfactory eliminative functions. So these are the provisions of care associated with the elimination process and excrements. The number 5 is the activity balance with rest. So this is the maintenance of balance between activity and rest. The number 6, we have the time spent alone balance with time spent with others. So this is the maintenance of the balance between solitude and the social interaction. The number 7, we have the prevention of danger. So this is the prevention of hazard to human life, human functioning, and human well-being. And number 8, we have the being normal. So this is the promotion of human functioning and development between social groups in accord with human potential, known human limitations, and the human desire to be normal. So the development of self-care requisites is a specialized expression of universal self-care requisites for development process. Then the health deviation is an additional demands for health care due to illness, disease, or injury. So the theory of nursing system, So this theory is the product of the series of relation between the person's legitimate nurse and the legitimate client. So the system is activated when the client's therapeutic self-care demand exceeds the available self-care agency leading to nursing. So first we have the wholly compensatory, which is the nurse acts for the patient. The number 2, we have the partly compensatory, which is both nurse and patient. The number 3, we have the supportive educative, which is the patient is able to perform self-care. So in wholly compensatory, this is when the nurse is expected to accomplish all the patient's therapeutic self-care or compensate for the patient's inability to engage in self-care or when the patient needs continuous guidance in self-care. So for example is care of a newborn or care of a client recovering from surgery or a post-anesthesia care unit. The next is partially compensatory. This is when both nurse patient engage in meeting self-care needs. So for example is nurse can assist the post-operative client in ambulating or nurse can bring a meal tray for a client who can feed himself. And for the supportive educative, so this system, that requires assistance, decision making, behavior control, and accusation, knowledge, and skills. So for example is nurse guides a mother on how to breastfeed her baby, or counseling a psychiatric client on more adaptive coping strategies. And now let us proceed to system theories to be reported by Ms. Moret.
Hi, good morning. I am Miss Morit. So let us know Sister Calista Royce and her adaptation model that is for aiming to
So good day, ma'am. So today I'm going to report about Betty M. Newman Healthcare System Model and Dorothy Johnson Behavioral System Model. So let us go first with Betty Newman's Healthcare System Model. So Betty Newman's is a nursing theorist who developed the Newman System Model. So she gave many years of perfecting a system model that views patient holistically. So she inquired about the theories from several theorists and philosophers and applied her knowledge in a clinical and teaching expertise to develop the Newman System Model that has been accepted, adapted, and applied as a core for a nursing curriculum in many areas worldwide. So based on the two components of stress, reaction to stress, so client either be individual, group, or community, is an open system in interaction with environment. So the use of the model of the Newman system is to provide the framework for understanding the idea of adversity by delimiting the relationship between part of the whole and affects the circumstances and the client's contact with his or her environment. So this section we will define the major concept in Betty Newman system model. So we have 4 concepts. So first is a client. So a client is a flexible, keep system free from stressor reaction or symptomatology. So line of resistance consists of internal defensive process. So the example of this is the immune response. So next is environment. So environment has a potential to alter system stability due to internal and external stressor. So the stressor can be, first is the extrapersonal. So the extrapersonal is occurs outside the individual. So for example is the person, job, or a financial pressure like unemployment, microorganism, peer pressure, or radiation. So next is the interpersonal. So this occurs between individuals. So for example is the rule expectation like between 2 or more individual or a parent expectation. So the 3 is the intrapersonal. So this occurs with the personal. For example is the personal emotions and feelings like anger, physical abilities, financial condition. So the environment can be also be source of resources that may help client cope with stressors. So the third concept of Betty Newman's healthcare system is health. So in Newman's nursing theory, health is defined as the condition or degree of system stability and is viewed as a continuum from wellness to illness. When system needs are met, optimal wellness exists when needs are not satisfied and the illness exists. So fourth is nursing. So Newman defined nursing as an action which assists individuals, families, and groups to maintain a maximum level of wellness. And the primary aim is stability of the client system through nursing intervention to reduce pressure. So the purpose of the nurse is to retain the system stability through the 3 levels of prevention. So the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. So the primary is the protection of the normal line of defense. The secondary is the protection of the basic structure by strengthening internal line or resistance. So the example of this is treatment of symptoms and energy conservation. So third is tertiary. So the promotion of this is a reconstitution by supporting existing strengths and resources. Now let us know Dorothy Johnson and her behavioral system model. So Dorothy Johnson was one of the greatest nursing theorists who developed the behavioral system model. So her theory of nursing defined nursing as an external regulatory force which acts to preserve the organization and integration of the patient behaviors of an optimum level under those conditions in which the behavior constitutes a threat to the physical or social health or in which illness is found. So this is the MAN subsystem. the behavioral subsystem and the biological subsystem. So the behavioral subsystem addressed by nursing intervention. The biological subsystem is to address by medical intervention. So the rule of medicine is focused on the biological subsystem, while the nursing is focused on the behavioral subsystem. So this is a goal of a nursing. So first is to demonstrate behavior commensurate to social demands. B is to modify behavior to support biological needs. C is to benefit from physician skill and knowledge. D is to demonstrate behavior that does not give evidence of unnecessary trauma. So the nursing focus is the behavior modification to foster equilibrium. So I'm Jahan Madi, and thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, I'm Thalia Ibrahim. Now, I will tackle about Peplau Hildegard and her personal relationship. Peplau Hildegard was born on September 1, 1909 in Reading, Pennsylvania, United States, and died on March 17, 1999 in Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles, California, United States. Peplau Hildegard state nursing is an interpersonal process because it involves interaction between two or more individuals with a common goal. Nursing is a therapeutic in that it's a healing art, assisting an individual who is sick or in need of health care. Peplau Hildegard was American nurse, who is the only one to serve the American Nurse Association, in short the ANA, as executive director and later as president. She became the first published nursing theory since Florence Nightingale. Peplau was well known for her theory of internal relations, which helped to revolutionize nursing scholarly work. Her achievements are valued by nurses worldwide and became known to many as the mother of psychiatric nursing and the nurse of the century. In 1952, the interpersonal relation theory was developed. So, Peplau Hildegard defined nursing as a therapeutic interpersonal process which strives to develop a nurse-patient relationship, in which the nurse serves as a resource person, counselor, and surrogate. Hildegard Peplau's interpersonal relations theory emphasized the nurse-client relationship as the foundation nursing practice. It emphasized the give and take of nurse-client relationships that was seen by many as revolutionary. Peplau went on to form an interpersonal model emphasizing the need for a partnership between nurse and client, as opposed to the client passively receiving the treatment and the nurse passively acting out doctor's order. Hildegard Peplau theory divides nursing as an interpersonal process of therapeutic interactions between an individual who is sick or in need of health services and a nurse specially educated to recognize respond to the need for help. It is a maturing force and educative instrument involving an interaction between two or more individuals with a common goal. In nursing, this common goal provides the incentive for the therapeutic process in which the nurse and patient respect each other as individuals, both of them learning and growing due to the interaction. An individual learns when she or she selects stimuli in the environment and then reacts to this stimuli. Peplau Hildegard identified 4 phases of the nurse-client relations. Number 1 is the orientation. The nurse and the client initially do not know each other's goals, and testing the rule each will assume. The client attempts to identify difficulties and the amount of nursing help that is needed. So, it starts when the client meets the nurse as stranger. Problem defining phase. Client seeks assistance and conveys needs, asks questions, shares preconceptions and expectations of past experience. Nurse response explains rules to the client, identifies problems, and uses available resources and services. So, number 2, identification. The client responds to help professional or the significant others who can meet the identified needs. Both the clients and the nurse plan together an appropriate program to foster help. The identification phase begins when the client works interdependently with the nurse, expresses feelings, and begins to feel stronger. Number 3, the exploitation. The clients utilize all available resources to move toward a goal of maximum health functionality. In the exploitation phase, the client makes full use of the services offered. In the exploitation phase, the client makes full use of the services offered, use of professional assistance for problem-solving alternatives, and nurse aids the patient in exploiting all avenues of health, and progress is made toward the final step. So, number 4, the resolution refers to termination phase of the nurse-client relationships. It occurs when the client's needs are met and she can move toward a new goal. In the relation phase, the client no longer needs professional services and gives up dependent behavior. The relationships end. Peplau further assumed that nurse-client relationship foster growth in both the client and the nurse. So I would like to show a video from you to more understand the Peplau-Hildegard interpersonal theory.
Hello everyone, my name is Emma. I am here to talk to you about Peplau's theory. In her theory she identifies 6 nursing roles and 4 phases of the nurse-patient relationship. Let's first discuss the roles. It is important for nurses to know what roles they are cast in so they can understand what patients expect from them. Although Peplau identifies 6 specific roles, she recognizes that nurses take on many more roles. The stranger role is when both nurse and patient are meeting for the first time. It is important the nurse is non-judgmental, meets all basic needs, and develops trust. Hello Mr. B, I am Emma. I am going to be your nurse today.
Oh hey. I want to see the doctor. No offense, but you can't do much to help my pain.
Well Mr. B, I am here to help. First tell me where you are having pain and then we can work together to make you more comfortable. In the resource role the patient looks to the nurse for knowledge. For this role it is important for the nurse to stay educated and on top of her skills.
Nurse Emma, this machine says my heart rate is 80. Is that a normal heart rate?
Yes Mr. B. A heart rate is how many times your heart beats in 1 minute. A normal heart rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. In the teaching role the nurse should identify a patient's learning needs and preferred method of learning. The nurse should find out what a patient already knows and expand on it. Mr. B, can you tell me what you know about high blood pressure?
Not much. Isn't it caused by eating too much salt?
Sodium which is found in salt can affect your blood pressure. I'd like to help you understand more about what is causing you to have high blood pressure. First, can you tell me what you do for a living?
Yes, I am a writer.
Oh, how wonderful. Does that mean you love reading?
Yes. I love to read.
Okay, great. I will give you a pamphlet on high blood pressure to read, then if you have any questions you can ask me. In the leadership role, the patient looks to the nurse as a role model. Showing of interest and presence should be practiced. Encourage active participation. Keep in mind the patient is at risk of becoming dependent on the nurse. Use interventions to discourage this behavior. Mr. B, today our goal should be to get you out of bed and walking.
No, I don't think I want to do that. I am scared it will be too painful.
Mr. B, getting out of bed is an important part of your recovery. I will get you pain medicine and I will be back in an hour to help you walk.
Okay, before you leave, can you turn the volume up on my TV?
The remote is sitting on your table. Please use it to turn up the volume. In the surrogate role, the nurse may remind a patient of someone they know. The nurse could look like or act like that person. It could be a negative or positive relationship. If a patient mentions the nurse reminds them of someone they know, it is important the nurse addresses this. The nurse should tell the patient they are not that person.
Emma, this is my mom. Her name is Emily. She has always taken such good care of me. She's my hero. Wow, Emma, I just realized how much you remind me of my mom.
Mr. B, you are right. Your mother and I have some similarities, however we are not the same person. She is your loved one and I am your nurse. In the counselor role, the nurse helps a patient identify feelings they have surrounding their health. The nurse can help them identify and express negative feelings. In this role, it is important to help the patient identify that their experience is an important life lesson. Mr. B, you're being discharged soon. Aren't you happy to go home?
I am scared that I won't be able to manage my high blood pressure at home. I am also worried about the side effects of my medicine and how they will affect my life.
It is good you are recognizing your feelings before leaving the hospital. You have learned a lot here. You can make positive life changes. Let's talk more about your feelings. Next, we will discuss the 4 phases of the nurse-patient relationship. Knowing these phases helps nurses understand tasks and roles expected of them. In the orientation phase, the patient has identified they have a need and are seeking professional help. They are scared and may ask questions such as, "Why is this happening to me?" In this phase, the nurse needs to explain themselves, set boundaries, establish trust, and acknowledge anxiety.
I need help. My head hurts really bad and I feel really dizzy. I think I might.
Rapid response in the waiting room. Everyone move out of the way so I can help my patient. Miss, you're going to be okay. You had low blood sugar, but it is back to normal now. We are going to admit you to the hospital to further monitor you.
Okay. That was really scary. Thanks for your help. I want to understand why this happened to me.
In the identification phase, the patient has identified they can rely on the nurse for help. The patient may feel helpless in this phase. Their personal security has been threatened by an illness. Nurses need to emphasize they are there to help and ensure safety. The leadership role is very important in this phase. Hello, Miss Ivy. My name is Emma. I met you in the waiting room. I am going to be your nurse today.
Hi, Emma. I remember you. I am very upset. The doctor just told me I have diabetes. My mom had to have her leg amputated because of diabetes. I don't know how I can deal with this.
Ivy, I understand why you are scared. I am here to help you through this process. We will work together to help you understand your new diagnosis.
Thank you. It makes me feel better to know you're here to help.
In the exploitation phase, the patient is moving towards the goal of discharge. They may struggle to understand the difference between needs versus dependence. Ivy, today I am going to have you check your own glucose. You need to know how to do this before you go home. It is important to closely monitor your glucose at home.
There is no way I can prick my own finger. You are going to have to do it for me. I can't do it.
You can do it. When you go home, I will not be there to help you. You need to learn how to do it now, with my help.
You're right. I want to be discharged and this is part of the process.
In the resolution phase, needs are resolving. A patient is physically ready to go home, but psychological needs should be addressed as well. This phase is seen as a freeing process. Ivy, you are being discharged today. I know you are happy. Do you have any concerns about managing your diabetes at home?
No, Emma. You have taught me all I need to know. I feel ready, and I know who I can reach out to for help if I need it. Thank you for all your help.
lastly, we have Linja Hall with her theory Care, Core, and Cure. Linja Hall was born on September 21, 1906 and died on February 27, 1969. Linja Hall was a nursing theorist who developed the Care, Cure, Core model of nursing. Her theory defined nursing as a participation in care, core, and cure aspect of patient care, where care is the sole function of nurses, whereas the core and cure are shared with other members of health team. She was an innovator, motivator, mentor to nurses in all phases of their careers, and an advocate for chronically ill patients. She worked to involve the community in public health issues. Linja Hall used her knowledge of psychiatry and nursing experiences in the Low Web Center of formulate her theory. The Klayan is composed of the following: overlapping parts, person, which is the core, pathologic state and treatment, which is the cure, and body is the care. Introduce the model of nursing. So what is it? Focusing on notions that centers around three components of care, core, and cure. Care represents nurturance and is exclusive to nursing. The care circle. According to the theory, nurses are focused on performing the noble task of nurturing patients. This circle solely represents the role of nurses and is focused on performing the task of nurturing patients. Nurturing involves using the factors that make up the concept of mothering and provide for teaching, learning activities. Core involves the therapeutic use of self and emphasizes the use of reflection. The core, according to Hall's theory, is the patient receiving nursing care. The core has goals set by him or herself rather than by any other person and behaves according to their feelings and values. This involves the therapeutic use of self and is shared with other members of health team. Core is the therapeutic communication, which is you help the patient to understand the condition of him or herself. So, cure focuses on nursing related to the physician's orders. Core and cure are shared with the other healthcare providers. The cure circle, as explained in this theory, the cure is nursing, which involves the administration of medication and treatments. Hall explains in the model that the nurse shares the cure circle with other healthcare professionals, such as physicians or physical therapists. In short, these are the interventions or actions geared toward treating to the patient for whatever illness or disease he or she is suffering from. During this aspect of nursing care, the nurse is an active advocate of the patient. So, this would be all. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Russell Joy Johnson. So today we will talk about Virginia Avenel Henderson. So she was an influential nurse, a researcher, theorist, and author, and known for her work, the Need Theory. And she known as the First Lady of Nursing, the Nightingale of Modern Nursing, and the Modern Day Mother of Nursing, and the 20th century Florence Nightingale, and lastly the first Theory International nurse. So she was born on November 30, 1897 in Kansas City, Missouri, United States. Died March 19, 1996 in Connecticut, has Vice Brantford, Connecticut, United States. So she graduated in 1921 from the United States Army School of Nursing and completed a Bachelor of Degree from the Columbia University in 1932 and master's degree in the same school at 1934. So she received 13 honorary degrees, was inducted into the American Nurses Association Hall of Fame, and was awarded the most prestigious honor in the nursing, the Christian Riemann Prize by the International Council of Nurses. So Virginia Henderson, assessing individuals sick or well in the performance of activity. Role of nurse is complementary or working with the person. Supplementary or helping the person. Individual person is whole or complete individual being. As defined by the International Council of Nurses, a written by Virginia Henderson, the unique function of the nurse is to assist the individual, sick or well, in the performance of those activities contributing to health, its recovery, or to a peaceful death. The client would perform unaided if he had the necessary strength, will, or knowledge. She further believed that nursing involves assisting the clients gain independence as rapidly as possible, or assessing him achieve peaceful death if recovery is no longer possible. So Virginia Henderson traveled the world throughout her career to help and encourage not only nurses but also healthcare workers. So Henderson's 14 basic components of nursing stresses the priority of a patient self-determination so that the patient will continue doing after being released in the hospital. So she characterized the nurse's role of substitutive, which the nurse does for the patient, supplementary, which is helping the patient, or complementary, which is engaging with the patient to do something. So 1. Breathe normally. 2. Eat, drink adequately. 3. Eliminate body waste. 4. Move and maintain. 5. Sleep and rest. 6. Select suitable clothes leads to a normal development. Maintain body temperature. Keep body clean and well groomed. Avoid dangers in environment. Communicate with others. Worship according to others one's faith. Work for the accomplishment desirable posture. Participate in recreation. Learn to satisfy the curiosity. And Henderson arranged nursing tasks in 14 different components based on the personal needs. Not only are the nurses responsible for the patient, but also to help the patient to be themselves when they are leave their care. So this assures that the patient has fewer obstacles during the recovery from being sick or injured, and helping getting back into self-care is easier when a nurse is there to motivate until the patient will go home. So let's proceed to Martha Elizabeth Roger. She was an American nurse, a researcher, theorist, and author. While she was a professor of nursing at New York University, Rogers developed the science of unitary human beings, a body of ideas that she described in her book, An Introduction to the Theoretical Basis of Nursing. She was born May 12, 1914 in Dallas, Texas, United States, and died March 13, 1994 in Phoenix, Arizona, United States. So she believes that a patient can never be separated from their environment when addressing health and treatment. Her knowledge about the coexistence of a human, his or her environment, contributed a lot in changing towards better health. So, Martha Roger, Science of Unitary Human Beings. So, A, nursing is humanistic science, parallel with Ludwig von Bertalanffy's general system theory, and have the 5 assumptions about human beings. 1. Man is a unified whole, whole not equal to sum of parts. Individual and environment are continuously exchanging matter and energy. Life cycle evolves irreversibly and unidirectly along space and time continuum. Life patterns identify individuals. 5. Humans have the capacity for absorption and imaginary language through sensation and emotion. So, Science of Unitary Human Beings, the theory views nursing as both science and art. So, it provides a way to view the unitary human being and his or her environment are one. Nursing focuses on a people and manifestation that emerge from the mutual human environment field process. So, General System Theory, or GST 1950, was outlined by Ludwig von Bertalanffy. It premised the complex systems shared organizing principle which can be discovered and modeled mathematically. The term came to relate to find a general theory to explain the system is all fields of science. He was remaining against both reductionism and attempting to revive the unitary of science. He is considered to be the founder and principal author of general system theory. So, a set of interaction parts, components with boundary that filters the input and output from and to the environment. Input and output, matter, energy, and information. Whole physical, psychological, spiritual, and intellectual. So, general system theory, therefore, is a general science of wholeness. The meaning of the somewhat mystical expression, the whole is more than the sum of its parts, is simply that constitutive characteristic are not explainable from the characteristic of the isolated parts. The characteristic of the complex therefore appear anew, emergent. So that's all for my part, and for other theory, it will be reported by Miss Igalinos.